Hey guys, how's it going? I'm gonna make a little maker showcase. Got some new molds in the other day. I did one, screwed it all up, so we're gonna start fresh and we're gonna go from the top and try another one. I wanted to get my first run with them on camera, and I didn't. Well, I did, and then I didn't because it sucked. It was a full run. I did fill them in and everything, so it was a good shoot. Just the rest of the video was dog shit. So we went ahead and got rid of it. I am working on different camera angles. It's my space is not set up for filming, so it's like you can have the choice of being far back and seeing me and everything from a distance, or you can stare at my arm and get to see the molds up close, and they're way better looking than I am, so we're gonna do it that way for right now. Here's the new mold. That is the 4-inch double dipper tube from Anglin AI, the new version, where the splines are part of the rod, which makes cutting tails a thing of the past. Now, these tails are a little smaller. Yeah, I think how the other one is with the rod and everything. So these tails are a little smaller. They're more like, they're not finessey, but they're just, here. I've already got my plastisol warming up. That was part of the reason the other video was crap, because I made the plastisol before I shot. I forgot to shoot me making the color. Here's the color. It's just a real simple green pumpkin black flake. Here are the tubes. This one might be the one. One of them I didn't notice a couple of the tails, and I pulled them off instead of pulling them out. But so if this one looks a little thin, yeah, this is definitely the one. These come with 18 tails, but it's nice. You know, they're all real. They're not chunky. They're not haggard looking. They don't look like a dying, like a sick fish. Because that was my problem. Like, I don't mind a little bit of a haggard look. It makes it look like an easier meal. But if it looks sick, or sickly, the fish are going to notice and they're not going to eat it. So we'll kind of set that one back there. Excuse me, something else I didn't have figured out. I don't like touching worm oil. I try to keep stuff off of my bare skin as much as possible. You know what I mean? So I came up with this because you gotta grease these, or else. Oh look, there's 2 tails stuck in that fucker right there. That's what happens when you don't grease them. So we'll go ahead and spin these to make sure there aren't any other tubes stuck or tails stuck in there. And what I did was I put some worm oil in the container. Went and got one of my brushes, and I'm just gonna do that. Like, we're literally just gonna pop this up. We're gonna brush it with the worm oil to make sure we're down in all of those little areas. We're gonna get our rod. Now, the alternate of this is putting on a glove and just like putting worm oil on your hands and just, you know, manhandling the rods. But maybe if I'm not doing that a lot, it seems like a big waste of worm oil, and I'm not trying to waste any materials. I like to try to get as much as I can out of everything. Not because I'm frugal, I guess. I got to make every bit go as far as I can. I don't got, you know, the means to just be wasting materials. If you do, cool. I don't give a shit if you're richer than me or poorer than me or any of that crap. That doesn't matter to me, but I do not. So awesome for you guys that can. I'm on a different plane. So we got that one done. And why I'm doing this now is because I'm going to heat this mold up a little bit. I've learned that a warm mold is better than a cold mold, and it doesn't matter that it's 90 degrees here. I was like, oh, you know, in the summer it's like 95, somewhere between 90 and 100 in the shop. I shouldn't have to keep heating up molds. You do. Yeah, I do. So here's the mold. Here's an injector. We'll get this other one popped out real quick. Give me just a second. I'll hit the button on the microwave. That's like 3 cups of plastisol, so it is going to take a bit. So yeah, once again, I might change brushes because this is like a stiff brush. I might go for like a thinner or a softer brush. That way it holds more worm oil, but this seems to be doing very well. You know, you're getting all those hairs coated in plastisol or in worm oil, and that's getting down in between these splines to really make sure that you've got a good amount in there. They're not super hard to get off. I took a pair of tweezers and kind of just popped the corner or the end of the tail off, but you guys know aluminum is very soft, so it is not hard at all to scratch it. Not sure how much little scratches are going to matter on tube tails, but it might have an effect on how they shoot. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so we got all 4 of them. You know, yeah, I like that idea. It's a little jar. Where the hell did I have this? I don't even remember where I was keeping it at. We'll stick it right here. I got a little rag right here I can wipe off my brush with to make sure that I'm not just dripping plastic or worm oil all over my shit up here. And there we go. We've got a nice oiled mold. That's something you really got to get used to with tubes, is you're going to have to oil at least every 2 shoots, I would assume. We'll turn the heat on, get these warming up a little bit. I would assume at least every 2 shoots. So that's something you've got to be prepared for. Before it was cutting tails too. That was like, I didn't even cut the tails till people ordered the baits, and then I would go out there, cut the tails, and bag them up the day before they shipped. That's a hassle. It's not fun, and it's not fun to like, because if you cut them right when you shoot them, it's going to be a little more difficult. They're soft. They're going to want to pull off. You're going to be cutting tails off. You're going to have weird. It's a shit show. At least in my experience. So I was waiting until they were good and cured, and they were shipping out to cut the tails. So this, like I said, it's a huge step up. It takes, I mean, it's still a process. You're still going to have to spend time oiling your molds. It's still going to take time to get those tails out to make sure you don't rip any off, to double check. It's a big pain in the ass because you've got, this is what you're looking at. So you're sitting there with this, except there's a rod coming out of each one of these tubes, and you're trying to lift it up out of the mold and pull all your tails out. So it's got its own set of difficulties. Just like anything else does. I still like it as compared to having to cut tails myself. I really dislike cutting tails. Let me hang these back up real quick, guys. I've got these stretched out across like three different pins so they weren't sagging. We're thirsty. My little stir stick station. So come over here, get a stir stick, make sure we're getting all this shit off the sides. It's important to do this because you might have real hot plastisol on the bottom and the middle, but all this shit on the outsides is not. This isn't even 300 yet. But what'll happen is it'll burn that crap in the middle. You'll have like chunks on the outside, and it'll start to burn in the middle. So I like to, especially on big chunks like that, I like to stir it a little bit after the first or second trip on a reheat. That way I can make sure I can get all those chunks reincorporated back into the plastisol. I also try to cut my plastisol up in a very uniform way. I know people use meat grinders and shit, but if I go from chartreuse to clear or white, there's going to be chartreuse in there. You know how much of a pain in the ass it would be to clean out a meat grinder full of chunks of plastisol? Like, I don't even want to screw with it. I'd rather just be better about cutting up my own stuff. Also, everybody I've talked to who does that, they have to worm oil the meat grinder. And what happens when you take plastisol soaked in worm oil and you remelt it? That worm oil incorporates into the melted plastisol, and all of a sudden you fuck with your durometer. So let's not do that. So, I got other shit going on, but this is a Maker Showcase about the new AI mold, so we're going to stay on target. We're not going to talk about these 4.1 prays that are hanging up here. That'll be on the website later this week. We're going to stick to the injector that I'm very stoked to have, or not injector, the new tube molds that I'm very stoked to have, because I was wanting to do more tubes, I was wanting to experiment, and I was just sick of cutting tails, so I wasn't messing with them. That's why there's none on the website. Why do I say so much? Gosh, I really gotta get away from the ums. The oohs, the ahs, the ums. Ooh, ah, oh, hey. Boom. All right, that's a big old cup of plastisol. We're at 310 right now. We're gonna go up to about, I'm gonna say 330, 340. Only because I'm going to have to degas this, and I would rather go a little high before I degas, versus degassing and then having to reheat. I still might even have to reheat after I degas. I'm not sure. We do videos like this now. I just kind of like lay down on the desk. We'll do it like this. I don't know what's going on. All right, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna degas it. You guys know how that works. Be back in a few minutes. We'll shoot some molds, let them cool for a minute, and we'll check them out right out of the thingamatoffler. All right, guys, we're back. We're just giving it up. I had to end up reheating it anyway. Another reason I didn't think of why I don't do a whole lot of videos, or I'm not in the videos, is when it's hot, it's like 80, 90, 100 degrees in here. So half the time, I got gloves on, but I ain't got a shirt on. I ain't got shoes and socks on. I'm out here like, you know when you come home from work and your old lady's just wearing high heels? It's like that, but not. I'm just, you know, I'm usually out here in just shorts and gloves because I'm fucking on fire. It's like, not literally, but it's hot as crap out here. I've got, excuse me. I got one fan in the ceiling right there. I got one big fan on the floor right there. I got another fan, stand fan right there. I've got a fan right here. My exhaust fan, and I've got a fan up there in the ceiling that pulls hot air from the ceiling up into the attic and out through the vent in the attic. And I'm still just ridiculously uncomfortable. Right here, you got 320 degree plastisol above your face. You got a hot griddle on. You got, you know, hot injectors and molds in your hands and stuff. So I'm usually just wearing shorts, and that's probably part of the reason I'm not in a lot of the videos. Your people telling people to wear shorts, man, or wear gloves. Imagine getting on somebody's video and they ain't even got a shirt on. That would be me. All right, kittens. We're gonna go deep in this cup. Make sure we get some of that good glitter, or that good flake that is sank to the bottom in the 16 seconds since I took it out of the microwave. We are going to push like it's a baby. No, don't do that. You'll blow your shit out. Gonna give it a 10. Then we're gonna pop the little top off. It is not like, you get a little hold at the bottom, like a little pushback, but not much at all. I was thinking I'm gonna have to like heavy pressure. Not at all. So we're gonna pump that back in there. I always like to do that. When I do that, I put my injector against the side of the cup so it's not just going straight into the cup and creating more air bubbles. I like to try to keep it as smooth as possible. Cup covers are going to keep this 8 to 10 degrees hotter than it would be just sitting here, probably more. These retain heat really well. I make them. I've got them. Not on the website anymore because they weren't selling and I needed the space, but if anybody wants some cup covers, hit me up and I'll take care of you. I'll sell them to you. I'm not just going to fucking give them to you. I am trying to feed my family here. Yeah, they're badass, man. These aren't the way they look. These are just ones that I made. The ones that you buy are cut into actual 12 by 12 squares, and they are hand sewn with a blanket stitch. They do not come undone. These are like 3 or 4 years old. Like they're really old, and they still are absolutely amazing. All right, we got a little dip. So this is also important, you know, another reason why these are good is because if you do have molds where you have to stand here and kind of top them off, maybe they have short sprues, maybe they're just big baits, maybe your molds are cold and it's just drinking it, these will help keep your plastisol from gelling up on you so you can still have it hot enough to actually move through that sprue and get to the bait. Yeah, we're just going to sit and wait now. We'll be back in a minute. What is going on, guys? It's the next day. I'm back out here. Actually, it's like 2 days later. I went to a park yesterday with my family and spent some time out there, so I did not do any shop work. But we're back here today. These have been sitting. I'm assuming, ooh, yeah, the worm oil ran out of the molds. Oh, yeah. But hey, that's all right. We wanted it, you know. We saw where it's been a day or two. I got to kind of remember what I did. we brushed the worm oil onto the molds. That was the first time doing that, so let's see how that came out, and I will let you guys. Uh-oh, one stuck to the, darn it. Ow! That's a sharp little edge. I am, you guys aren't even in frame, darn it. Alright. Get you back here. Two of them were stuck, so that's what we're looking at. I wanted you guys to see it. I don't know why it's so dark. Excuse me, in the mold. These came out killer. As I said, you can just, you know, if you've got enough worm oil, they'll come out pretty easily. These have actually been sitting, like I said, for a day or two, so they're really coming out easy because they're cured a lot more than, you know, 5-10 minutes after the mold finishes. But we'll use the here comes the cat. Go ahead. Use our tweezers. You just want to make sure that you get all the way around. That way you don't have any, that one right there I didn't notice. You want to make sure you don't rip any of them off. You keep all your tails on your tube, and then just lightly push it down like that. And that is killer. I'm stoked on these guys. I'm stoked on this mold. Stoked on being able to do tubes without cutting tails. You can also buy extra inserts. Like I said, start to pull it back like that, and if you have to grab it with the tweezers, then that's okay too. But a lot of times you can just get these to start just by pushing in on it. Alright, well everybody, I am not going to make you sit here and watch me tube these, or peel these. Next shots will be a couple of pictures in the shop, and we'll get on to the next video. You guys take it easy, be safe. I hope you enjoyed the video. Tight lines. We'll see you on the next one.